see if we can hear. Let's see if we can hear. Wow, there's a big delay, but that's okay. We're still gonna keep going. There's a delay in the live, but I'm gonna start because we're here. Okay, let me lower this down since I know you can hear me now. Okay, and then let me do this so that I know what's going on. Salam and hello everyone. I'm just getting my bearings with the live. I did a test run last week, and so now we're actually going to do a real live video. Before I jump in to the live, make sure I have everything. Just introduce myself to everyone who is tuning in or who is going to be tuning in at a later time frame. I know I didn't schedule this, and I know I didn't tell everyone the time I was going to be on. I was still trying to work out all the logistics of going live. But salam and hello everyone. My name is Khadija. I am a mother, pharmacist. I create content on YouTube. I am a biochemist. I'm a sister. So, I mean, I'm a lot of things. But for today, I actually want to go live with you and talk about number one, the poll that I put out. I think it was on Friday or Saturday for the content you would be interested in. And then two, go into something that I wanted to post or I wanted to go over for my first live, which was 5 types of books I think you should be reading, just so that I can have some material to share with you for today so that you understand kind of the setup of the live, what I hope to be sharing with you. And, I'm open to your opinions and your, recommendations for the live. So let me jump into the next slide. And I have this on MP4, because this is the best way I'm going to be able to share. So let's talk about the live. Welcome again. So the poll that I put out last week was to discuss which items you want me to discuss, as I should say. So I put out options that included Menopause Mondays. There was a glitch. Fab Five Fridays, your Medicine Cabinet Mondays, as well as your Q&A Fridays. Oh, somebody's chatting with me. I can see it. Hello, KL Sterling. I'm sorry, and I can't even find my chat box. See, this is why this is why I tried to get the kinks. Let me see if I can find my hidden chat box. My chat box is hiding, but I do see you on my other phone. Thank you for joining. Oh, and I appreciate your comment. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. So I do see you. I can see you on my other phone. So it's good that I have a backup. And if you have any delays or glitches, I'm so sorry. It's my first real live, so we're just getting through the kinks. So Menopause Mondays, Fab Five Fridays, Medicine Cabinet Mondays, and general Q&A with regards to health and wellness. And so it looks like right now we have, I think 3 of you want to do Medicine Cabinet Mondays, 2 of you want Menopause Mondays, and then 2 want Q&A for all things health and wellness. And we can switch. We can, we can alternate. It's no, there's a lot of topics to discuss with regards to health and wellness. So trust me, we have plenty of time, God willing, to go over a lot of stuff. So the poll's still open. Please take the poll. I'll double check, I'll check in on the poll every once in a while. Medicine Mondays would be great. I'm not in menopause, but I do know a lot of people on medication. Okay, got it. Cool. Well, it's not cool that everybody's on medication, but I get what you're saying, and I can do that. Okay. Thank you for the feedback. Okay, so I'll keep that in mind. Thank you, Kale. I appreciate it. And I need to check. I know I'm subscribed to your channel, so I need to check. I don't remember if you go by KL or if you are those just your first initials, but I have to double check once I get back onto your channel. But thank you for the comment and for the feedback. I appreciate that. All right. And let me MP4 my way over to the next slide. So before I jump in to the 5 books I think you should read. Oh, so the poll, yes, the poll is in the community section. The poll is in the community section. I'm so new to this, I don't know where I can pull up my chat box. I don't mean to be rude. I lost it and I can't find it. So I'm sorry. I'll figure that out um, for future. And I don't want to touch the settings because God knows we'll end this live quicker than we need to. And I'm trying to stare at the camera too. I want to be focused on you. So let me just jump in. My latest video is up. It's on emotional well-being. And when I say emotional well-being, I'm talking about mental health. So I initially started this 3-part series with steps 1 and 2, 3 and 4, 5 and 6 about how to elevate yourself. There's a lot of videos on, manifestation and elevation and glowing up, and they're all great videos. I like them a lot. But for me as a woman over 40, I think there's also some nuances into glowing up that we should dig into. And a lot of it starts internally. So in steps 1 and 2, I spoke about number 1, setting your intention, and number 2, getting some blood work. It might seem odd that I would just jump out and say blood work, but if you think about the silent and deadly diseases going on in our bodies that we don't know about, diabetes, hypertension, or high blood pressure, how can we elevate ourselves and become better if we don't really know our status? And some of the other blood work I encouraged you to get, in addition to like a complete blood count that will measure your hemoglobin and your A1C, is to also get like your thyroid tested, to get the common STD tests tested, get yourself tested, and don't just take things all with the grain of salt. Don't become overwhelmed with all the things I'm recommended. Just take your time and evaluate what things you need to do for yourself at this moment in time. Maybe you need to get blood work done today, or maybe you will schedule it for a couple of weeks from now. But as long as you're doing your best to take care of yourself, that's why I encourage you to start within. And then, of course, with steps 3 and 4, mental health is really important as we are aging, as we are women of a certain age, women of a certain race. I really want to encourage you to take care of your mental health and seek some help. It's really hard for us to seek that help for so many reasons, including in our culture it's taboo. We may not have access to a healthcare provider, which really is one of the most common reasons why we're not getting help. Or we may have had bad experiences with getting help in the past. And so I do understand all of that. All of that. That's been my experience too, honestly. And so I would still encourage you to seek help if you need help, because there's a lot going on in our lives, and I want us all to get better and be at a state where we are doing well and we are experiencing joy and at a place of happiness within ourselves. So check out that video. It is posted. I posted it this Sunday. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and give me feedback, And then next week, inshallah, I'll post steps 5 and 6, and then I'll just continue to post other videos that you would like to see or are interested in, all within the realm of health and wellness. All right, so thank you for bearing with me on that, my latest video. Now let me go ahead and play myself over to today's topic. So we have part 1 of 5 types of books every woman over 40, but this is, it could be any woman should read. And I say over 40 because I'm over 40, but of course this applies to a lot of women. You can read, or, anybody who is interested in books and learning and trying to get into different types of books of reading. So this is part 1. Part two is coming right after this, but not today, but maybe next week, Monday, or maybe this Friday. But let me jump into the 5 types of books I think every woman over 40 should read. And you can let me know in the comments, or you can let me know in the live what you think. So before I jump in, I want to let you know that in order to read some of these books, I hope you would take advantage of free access to libraries. One is Libby. If you have a library card and you're in the, I was trying to research this early. If you're in the United States and you have a library card, please sign on or sign up with Libby. It will get you access to ebooks as well as audiobooks. So that's something I really encourage you to do if you have a library card. Sorry. AV acting up on day one. See this here? Okay. Next is the Internet Archive. I've used this before, but I haven't used it in a while. If you are familiar with the Internet Archive, it's an open library. I want you to go ahead and look into that to see if you can also get access to certain books that you might be interested in. And then the last one that I just found out today that I don't know too much about, but I am going to list it because it might be beneficial to you, is the Project Gutenberg. It has 70,000 ebooks online, supposedly for free, so check it out. For Libby, again, I think it's based if you have a library card in the United States, but for the Internet Archive or the Open Library or Project Gutenberg, that should be international, hopefully, and you can gain access to that. Okay. Yep, I agree. Yeah, thank you, Cal. So it's like, I don't know. We need help, but we don't get the help. And so, oh, once again, I have a delay if you're watching this live, so I apologize. So I'm seeing comments, but it's like I have to go back to respond to the comment. But thank you anyways for your patience, and I agree. Yep, local library has Libby. If you have a library card in the United States, please get the app Libby and sign up for it. You can listen to your audiobooks or read them on the go. Very helpful, very helpful. All right. So the first type of book I am going to recommend you look into is a book or books on health, meaning your physical and mental health. It's going to be really important for you to, if you haven't started doing it, please, I encourage you to start picking up some books and learning, because that's the only way we're going to get better, really, is to learn what we need to heal our bodies and to reach states of longevity. As someone who started getting back into fitness seriously in January of this year, I can tell you it's been really hard. Even though I've been working out with a trainer, I spend my hard-earned money. Oops, my life is acting up. Sorry about that. Spend my hard-earned money with with a trainer and trying to get into the gym. I still find it rather hard to see the pounds go down. And that's just the physical side of things. There's also the mental health side of things, which we should also be focusing on, and making sure that we're taking care of ourselves, which is what I mentioned in my early video about self-elevation. So let me move on to the first recommendation. So I know all of you watching are not in menopause. I'm not in menopause, or I'm not in the menopause. I haven't transitioned into menopause, but I have had some symptoms related to perimenopause, which I can get into in another video. But I think it's important because every woman with an XX chromosome will experience menopause and at some stage in her life. You will experience menopause. That's a given. So it's important for us to understand what menopause is, because it can have, at least in 85% of us, it can have a dramatic impact. Some women experience hot flashes, night sweats, mood swings because of the decline in hormones, estrogen, progesterone. But some women also experience depression and muscle loss, as well as I would say, some characteristics of Alzheimer's and dementia. And so I think it's going to be important for you to understand menopause and prepare yourself ahead in time. That's kind of why that is why I named my how do I say this? My health guide, Pause and Prepare, because I want you to pause in terms of menopause. I want you to pause everything you're doing and prepare for menopause. So get your get your health right, get into shape, learn what it is that you need to get your body into shape, learn what it is that you need to eat to provide nutrients for your body, as well as to prepare your mind and your brain for what this transition looks like. You may not go through the typical transition, but you might know somebody who will go through that transition. And so I encourage you to get out there and read and learn. And this is just one of the recommendations. I bought this book, so I have this book. Lisa Mosconi, she talks about how you can prepare your brain for menopause. What are some of the signs and symptoms that impact women with menopause? And just kind of an overall education. She's a researcher from New York, and so I think that this is a really good book. I haven't read it end to end, but I have been flipping through the chapters to learn more about menopause, especially as a Black woman. You don't hear menopause too much within our circles, so you do more so now than in the past, but it's always good to learn. And I apologize for the AV issues, the tech issues. My screen keeps tapping out, but we're still going to keep going. This is our full first live, so we're learning here. Let me go on to the next recommendation that I have for you. So the next recommendation in terms of health, physical or mental, is the Black Woman's Mental Health Guide. Now, I actually borrowed this off of my Libby app, my free library app, last year. I did not finish the book yet because somebody else wanted to use it, so I had to return it. And it talks about balancing strength and vulnerability as a Black woman. So if you have not read this book or you haven't come across this book, I do encourage you to give it a go, give it a listen. I think it's available in audiobook. Again, within our communities, and I know the Black community is a big community. We have people from different parts of the world who consider themselves Black. So I just want to encourage you to read this book or read other books that might make sense for you or that might help you. And then, give me some, let me know in the comments what you think about it. I really enjoyed what I read for this book, but I need to go back and listen to it again because, like I said, it was last year. So this book, I think you might find beneficial in your journey to improving your mental health. Okay, let me go into the next book. Okay, I talked about this book, or I spoke about this book in one of my previous videos. This book is by Stacy Sims. She is a PhD exercise physiologist in New Zealand. I think she, born and raised in America, moved out to New Zealand. She is really heavy on women exercising for not only their body types, but for their age. And a lot of her clients or her patients are 40s and 50s, and they've struggled with trying to get into shape, trying to build muscle mass, trying to drop fat, trying to take care of their bones. And I think her information is really, really superb. So I have 2 of her books. I've listened to many of her podcasts, so I encourage you all to do the same. One of the things I do like when she talks, every once in a while, if she's asked the question, she does talk about the busy person, the busy mother who has a hard time trying to fit in the time to get in the exercise. So she provides a few tips and tricks about what you can do to get in your 30 minutes or 20 minutes of strength training or cardio. It might be at the playground with your children, it might be in the house with a couple of water jugs, but she does encourage you to move and to move for longevity because it's going to look different. The way you exercise looks different when you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, and beyond. It even looks different during the month with your menstrual cycle. So it can get very nuanced, but this is the research that's out there. This is science backed and science dedicated, which I appreciate as a biochemist. That's my first career is a biochemist. That's my first degree. So I really do encourage you. If not this book, then just kind of, you don't have to go out and buy all the books I'm showing you today, just the type of books. And yeah, I'm like you, KL. I'm in my early 40s too, but I'm trying to get ahead of God knows what. I'm just trying to learn as much as I can, so that we can kind of prepare ourselves so that when we're older, we're doing well. Um, Pretty much that when we're older, we're doing well. We're doing well in our older years. Okay, so let me go on to the next set of books. So those are just some food for thought. All right, now the next type of book, and I know some of you might be grumbling when you see this, is books on financial planning and retirement. I'll be sincere with you. This is not an area that I've dug into as much as I should have. And I think many of us are in this boat. We are not as financially savvy or prepared as we need to be. And when I say as we need to be, it's like, I don't know who is ready for, the fire movement, or, financial independent, retire early, or who's going to be able to retire once they hit 60 or 65. If you're US based, that's typically the age where they say you're eligible for like Medicare benefits, and most people retire, but most people are not retiring in this day and age. So I encourage us to learn about some financial planning and retirement. I have seen some financial advisors in the past. Some of them were not great, to be sincere with you. One had mentioned to me, "Oh, you need to have half a mil to be one of my clients." I'm like, "What are you talking about? You want $500,000 to be a client, just for me to start, putting my money into what, stocks and bonds or something like that?" I just thought it was weird. So some financial advisors are wacky like that. But that doesn't mean we should stop learning. That doesn't mean we should be discouraged or we should give up. So I will advise you to go out and start learning. And I apologize, I only have one book to recommend right now because, like I said, I still have a lot to do in terms of this area. So one of the books, I've had this book for several years now, Tiffany Aliche, Get Good with Money. And this book particularly starts, if I remember correctly, it's about budgeting. She's called the Budgetnista. She's all about budgeting and saving your money and using your money wisely. She had an instance where somebody had scammed her out of a lot of her money. So she had to learn the hard way. And some of us are learning the hard way that money can be scarce. So I think what you need to do is go ahead and borrow some books or watch some basic YouTube videos when you have the time, or talk to somebody who knows about investments and retirement and money. I think those are kind of like the good places to start. I have this book up because, again, I bought this book, so I would suggest you all get acquainted with financial books and learning about money, especially if you have a hard time saving money, spending money, making money. Some of us are in jobs that are not providing us with enough. We're like living paycheck to paycheck. So it might be time to look for another job, look into different careers, or start a side hustle. I mean, all of these things, they're not as easy. I've been on YouTube for a while, and I wouldn't call it a side hustle, but I've been creating content for a while in addition to my day job, which, don't quit your day job if you are starting side hustles or something like that, or if you're trying to pursue creative avenues for your work. But I would say start to investigate ways in which you're going to be able to build some financial capital for yourself, some financial leverage for yourself, because we as women, we seem to be always struggling, and I can't say a collective, but some of us struggle with money sometimes, and so we have to become a little bit more savvy and knowledgeable about how money works. So I do encourage you to get good with money and start reading about financial planning. And I'm going to have to dive into this book again and then start getting more in tune with investments, especially if you have children and they're going to go to college. That's going to be some money coming out of your pocket sooner or later if you, I would say, don't want them to take out a whole bunch of loans. Like I took out a bunch of loans in college and pharmacy school, and good God, God help me and God help you if you have taken out loans to pay for school. Now, I'm going to move on to the next slide, which I think is any suggestions. If you have any suggestions, please let me know. Share them in the comments. I see. Oh my God. Yeah, these loan officers, I don't know. They When I was in pharmacy school, I had found myself where I was pregnant and I needed to borrow some more money. And a financial officer looked at me and she was like, "Are you sure you want to do this?" And now that I'm looking at my statements, I'm like, oh, this is what she was talking about. And this was some 12 years ago. Not even 12 years ago, maybe 15 or 16 years ago. So yeah, I understand. I mean, the amount of debt we're in is really problematic. So and I mean it. God help me, God help you if you're in so much debt, to help us get out of this debt, because for some of us too, there's an issue of riba, the interest only loans, or the interest that's accruing on these loans. It's like you'll never pay off the debt, and that's why riba bearing or interest bearing loans is prohibited. So that's what I'm just going to suggest. We can revisit this at another live, but yeah, just if you have any like tips or tricks for the financial part, leave them in the comments. And I feel you, KL. Yep. It These loans are something else. These school loans are something else. Okay. So let me move on to the third type of books, and this book is personal development. Now, we're inundated with like personal development and productivity and things of that nature. Like the books are everywhere, the YouTube videos are everywhere, and it's for a purpose. People need to learn how to become more productive with their time. We need to develop ourselves personally, and it's good information. I just think you have to be careful of how much you consume, because you can consume so much and not implement anything. There's always the balance of how much you want to consume and how much you want to create. When I say create, I mean implement things that are going to move the needle in your life, going to change things up, improvements, and things that are just going to make things better for you in general. So one of the recommendations, not a recommendation, it was a question actually. I have one question to ask you, and that is, has anyone ever read this book? So this is by Tunde Oyeneyin. I saw this book in one of my recommendations, and it's about finding our voice, trusting your gut, and getting from where you are to where you want to be. I haven't read this book, but I'm thinking of picking it up. I haven't seen it in my Libby account yet, but I want to know if anybody's read this book, because if you have, I need to know what you thought about this book. I am going to pick it up sooner or later, but if you read it, let me know. The next book that's on the list for personal development is Flow. Now, I have read this book, not in its entirety, but I have it. And this is by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. I hope I'm pronouncing his name correctly. And I have a couple of notes here. So this particular book is on flow, and that's attention on productive habits. So you want to pay attention to what is going to allow you to be productive with whatever habits you're building, and you want to actually enjoy what you're doing and have good thoughts of what you're doing so that you can push away negative thoughts. You don't have room for negative thoughts once you're doing something that makes you happy and brings you joy. So this book might be good for you if you also have negative thoughts and are unable to kind of bring yourself out of a state of those bad thoughts. Because essentially what he's saying is, like I said before, you're so productive, you're so engrossed in something, you're so happy with what you're doing that you don't have time for all the nonsense. So I think this book might be good for you if you've ever experienced that, or if you have been bogged down by negative thoughts. I hope I'm making sense. And so also he talks about controlling your attention. So when you control your attention, which is really difficult, it takes a lot of mind muscle to control your attention. You'll be able to move yourself in the direction that's good for you and that allows you to be in a better state. All right. So let me go over the next slide for you. Now, this is Deep Work by Cal Newport. I read this book. I listened to it by audiobook actually a few months ago. I would recommend this to anyone who is having so many distractions that they're not able to get work done. And that could be your work within your current job or career, or that could be work, like extracurricular work outside of your 9 to 5. Because it's going to be difficult to do all the things you want to do if you're having so many distractions. And one of our main distractions, I know it because I've experienced it, is being like tuned in too much to maybe the internet or social media or television or things like that, or even books. There's a point in time a couple of weeks ago where I was flipping through, I was reading so many series that I wasn't able to do what I wanted to do. And I'll talk about this one particular series in my next live, because this book series can be great, but they can also be like, they can take up so much of your time. And so what I recommend you do is get this audio book and learn how to focus, how to find focus and get things done if you're having challenging times getting through your work. Please take a look at this book, Deep Work by Cal Newport, and tell me what you think. I think this is a good place to start for anyone who needs a little bit of a boost. He has multiple books out there. This is the only book that I've read of his so far. So if you've read any of his other work, share, let me know. All right, let's go into the fourth. Oh, if you have any suggestions, again, let me know. Let us know. Now, the fourth type of book, because we all need to know, is travel and leisure. We need to be able to go around the world in safety and just see different parts of the world. But like I said, with safety in mind. So travel and leisure is really important. This is a picture of Montego Bay in Jamaica. It's not my picture, even though I've been before, but I thought I would share it because it's just so beautiful. If you've been to Montego Bay or any part of Jamaica or the Caribbean or anywhere in the world that you want to share, that you think is safe for women, for Black women, that you think is a good, wonderful place to visit, the people were kind and nice, let us know in the comment section. I'm checking out my comments here. Okay, cool. Indoctrinated brand. Oh, I gotta look that up. I apologize to anybody who's watching. I have a little bit of delay, so I'm seeing the comments later as they come in. So it's like I have to backtrack. But I gotta look that up. Indoctrinated brain. Okay, thank you for sharing. Okay. Here, you know what? Yeah. I wonder if I could do live through my studio. Maybe I could go through live and comment through there. Anyways, I'll figure this out for next time. Sorry about that. All right. Travel and leisure. Yeah, so let me go into something you might be familiar with. So I don't know how many of you have heard of Jessica Nabongo. I believe I've seen a video of hers many years ago when she was on her journey of traveling to like every country in the world. And I think she only had a few countries left. Now, there was some controversy about how she was financing that. I didn't get too much into that, but I think she actually met her goal. So the Catch Me If You Can is her book about traveling around the world. And that's kind of what I want us to think about, is putting it in the back of our mind that we should want to see parts of the world. We should want to get out there. We should want to journey, if we can, and keep that on our, I wouldn't call it a bucket list, but on our to-do, especially if you're in the United States and you haven't left the United States yet, you haven't traveled outside. I would encourage you to think about safe, good, affordable places you can go to, even if it's going to be your first time traveling. I would encourage you to do that and to learn about traveling around the world. Now, the next thing I wanted to share with you is that if you're interested in traveling, there are a lot of different places to go and get some of your basic knowledge. So, Travel Noir. I knew Travel Noir when it before it was acquired by Blavity. So Travel Noir, I think they still have. The last time I checked, they still have a travel page which talks about traveling in different parts of the world for Black folks. I would check that out. Essence has good information about traveling. Now I don't know if you consider Essence not the bougie type, but hey, they have travel information, and so I would suggest you check it out because they give a lot of cool tips and tricks about where to go, what to see, why it's something that people or women love to see. So I think that's going to be a good place to start. And when I say Essence, I mean Essence as in the Essence magazine and the Essence website. There is also Reddit and Quora. So Reddit and Quora are public domains where you ask questions and you get answers from the public. And so I think that would be a good place for you also to start if you have questions on what places are good for X, Y, and Z reason. So check that out and just keep it in mind. If you haven't traveled in a while, you like to travel, put that on your list of things to do. And then there are some basic books and some basic guides about, because I was looking up traveling, just some basic books about going to like Dakar, Senegal, what it is that you need to look at. If you're going to Ghana, what is it that you should look out for, or what places might you want to see? What's the national language? Do they speak English there, or what are the languages of the places in which you're going to visit? So all of that information you would do or you would research ahead of time. So just keep that in mind if you are planning to travel. And if you have any suggestions, let me know. Let us know in the comments. All right, and then the fifth book for today, and again, this is just the first part of the series, are books on relationship dynamics. There is a lot of good research out there, and a lot of it comes from like clinical psychologists and therapists and psychiatrists, because a lot of us have been in situations where we don't understand how the relationship got to such a dire point, or how can you kind of prepare yourself to enter into and keep a good relationship. It could be with your significant other, it could be with your children, it could be with in-laws, parents, work relations, it could be with anybody. And so it's kind of like, if we're not able to talk about these things, how will we ever hey Franca, I think you come and gone, but I can see your hi. But relationship dynamics is something that I think we should spend more time reading, to be sincere with you, to understand what's going on within ourselves and within our relationships. So one of the things I wanted to share, has anyone read this? So whenever I say has anyone read this, I haven't read it yet, but I'm interested to know if you've read it. Why has nobody told me this before? Now, I follow Dr. Julie, I think just her YouTube, because I'm not on Instagram that often. So Dr. Julie is a clinical psychologist, and she has a wealth of content and videos about human emotions, human disorders or mental disorders, things that humans go through, things that we need to look out for. And so I really want to read this book, but I really want you to tell me if you've read this book and what you thought about this book. Not that it would influence me, but I want to know, were you able to gain something from this book? She goes by Dr. Julie. I really like what she has to say through her short snippets of content, through her shorts on YouTube. So I think that I just wanted to share that with you, that she does have a book, and I would be interested in borrowing this from my library to see, what she has to say in terms of long form content, in terms of a book and the research she has going on. All right, the next one Now, this is also, I really, really, really want to read this book, Sovereign Love by Danae Logan. So it's a guide to healing relationships by reclaiming the masculine and feminine within. I've seen her on different podcasts, and I love what she has to say. I really want to, especially, and I'm not so much into getting into the debate about the feminine and the masculine. I know there's a lot of the issues with that within relationship dynamics, but for me personally, from the podcast I listened to and how she explained sovereign love and love for self and all encompassing love, I said I wanted to get this book and I want to read this book. If you've read this book or if you've heard of Danae Logan, please let me know in the comments section what you thought about this book, because I really am going to try to pick it up sooner rather than later to understand about how to heal relationships. Um, so let me go on. So I'm going to pause here because that wrapped up my prepared presentation or my prepared slide deck for today. I wanted to share something with you because I think it's easier for me to talk and share something on the screen. I don't know if that's going to be the case all the time. How long have we been going? Oh, we've been going for a while now. So part 2 is coming soon. There are 5 additional types of books that I think we should be reading. Some of you might be shocked by some of the recommendations, but hey, we're all women here. We're all women of a certain age. So, oh hey, okay, thank you, Franca. This I'm still learning how to use my streaming software with my setup. So sometimes it plugs in and out. I hope everything has been streaming well enough for you and that you've been able to gain something out of this live stream. This is my first time going live for an extended amount of time, so I do appreciate anybody who's joined. And if you need to join later because you weren't able to join, I still appreciate all of you that have joined me. Okay, so part 2 is coming soon, and I think I have one more slide. I'm not sure. Yeah, thanks for joining the live. So again, the live is going to be posted to my live um, tab on my YouTube page. I welcome any and all of your feedback since this is the first time I have gone live, and I hope to do it soon, if not this Friday, the 9th.